While today's hearing was underway, we also got an interesting reminder that in addition to this congressional investigation, the Justice Department is also doing its own investigation of some kind related to January 6th, beyond the 800-plus people who have been indicted thus far for crimes related to the actual physical attack on the Capitol. Right in the middle of the hearing today, we got news via a federal court filing in D.C. that the Justice Department wants interview transcripts from all the depositions that the investigation has done. That's over 1,000 different interviews. They want full transcripts of all of them. This is that letter from the Justice Department to the January 6th investigation. It says, in part, quote, "The interviews are not just potentially relevant to our overall criminal investigations, they're likely relevant to specific prosecutions that have already commenced. It's critical that the January 6th investigation provide us copies of the transcripts of all of its witness interviews." The Justice Department today saying that the January 6th investigation, at least to this point, has refused to hand over those deposition transcripts, but they want them. Ari, let me go to you first on this. Why would the January 6th investigators not have given them to the Justice Department already?
There's not a good reason that's been publicly supplied. They may feel that they're on a roll and they want to finish up their work and then do it all in one cohesive way at the end. But this is good, solid evidence. There are open prosecutions, as mentioned. What was interesting about the letter is they're dialing up the pressure by not just saying we generally need this, which is true, but we have a timeline where we have to do these prosecutions. We need it for them. And in fairness to defendants, some of this may be material they are obligated to pass over, exculpatory Brady material. So in every way, it should go there soon.
And they're sort of implicitly raising the prospect that by not handing over the transcripts, they could be jeopardizing some of the prosecutions.
Yes.
Could it be that there's a worry that it's precedential? Because if, in fact, Republicans take over the House of Representatives, they've already said what they're going to do, right? They're going to try to launch investigations against Adam Schiff and
redo
Benghazi, et cetera. And they're thinking if you set the precedent that you're conducting investigations and sharing with DOJ. I mean, it's sort of a political theory as to why they wouldn't do it, but they do know what's coming.
But as a precedent, that's only scary if DOJ is going to misuse it, right? I mean, everything that DOJ does gets tested in court in the end. To greater or lesser extent.
Congresswoman Murphy, the letter came out a little bit before she was on my show today, and she said, we don't have any plan of refusing the request. We're simply in the middle of our investigation. I don't think the committee is making an argument, at least yet, that this is their material and they want to share it. Their point is we're in the middle, and there's evidence that they are in the middle. On Pat Cipollone, that's one of the things that's very live and active. And my understanding of the negotiations with Cipollone were that what he offered the committee was to come and testify very, very narrowly to incidents and interactions around Jeffrey Clark and the coup plot at DOJ. But as we know from Sean Hannity, of all people, he threatened to quit. As we know from Jared Kushner's testimony, he threatened to quit. So he's been invoked by other pieces of evidence and witnesses that have already been entered in far beyond the Jeffrey Clark.
But he doesn't want to talk about any advice he might have given the president, any conversations he had with the president. He wants to only talk about other people.
He doesn't want to talk about anything other than the DOJ coup plot, is my understanding, and that's why negotiations for Cipollone's testimony have fallen apart.
And just to make a smaller point, there is no Fifth Amendment privilege against talking to Congress. It's only against being indicted, prosecuted for what you say. To assert that.
So then why does Eastman invoke the Fifth Amendment when he's talking to Congress? They can't indict him.
Exactly, because he has the reasonable and foreseeable expectation that things he would say there under oath will end up at the DOJ. And we have every reason to believe, to Nicole's point, that eventually it will. So I would just note that it is possible that they just want a little more time, and different parts of the government do that from time to time, but it is only because everyone understands how smoking gun evidence some of this is that prosecutors not only will have access to it, but have probably a good legal reason to get access to it.
I would just say, I think one leading candidate for what's going on here, the sort of boring human reason, is that this committee is like, there's a little bit of a duck situation where like they're calm and cool on the surface, but like they're clearly churning underneath. Like we had the delay of the hearing, they had to put together like
clearly a bunch of stuff was not the way they intended it to be. Today was very choppy.
And I think they're doing a really good job so far, and they've done a very good job. I think all the even just the sort of televisual aspects of it, but I just get the sense that like their bandwidth and capacity is like at 99%. So turning over, it may just be they're not prioritizing.
Chris
that.
Hayes making the fair point that they don't want to send a letter back that says we're really overwhelmed.
Right, yeah, right, exactly.
But they do have a huge staff. They have a professional staff. Their staff involves lots of people who are like former U.S. attorneys. It's a heavyweight group of people.
But my sense is also that they have a position. Why weren't you investigating him before we were?
And right, that's
So I mean, I think the other thing is that they've done the work, and I think Liz Cheney has very publicly read the statutes. She thinks Donald Trump should be under criminal
There are judges who've
investigation
said that he
for.
likely did.
So I think there, and I don't know this. I don't have any reporting on this front, but I think there's also a sense of go to your own investigation.
Do your own work.
There's clearly
Exactly.
some beef there. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if I go to beef, but I
think we now have multiple sort of like glimpses of the iceberg above the water of some tension there.